Guys, let's fucking go. Little Scalpel out here again. Another daily review. Red to green today. Very surprising. Roller coaster of a week. But let's get into it. Got some good stuff to cover. Some good lessons learned. Just like always. Um, Man, pre-markets kind of sucked for me this week. And that is perfectly fine. Um, Open market has been where I have shined this week. So it's taken me a few days to realize that pre-market's been very slow for me. Not necessarily that, I mean, there's definitely opportunities, but I feel like I'm making my mistakes in pre-market. I'm starting right on the day just for great place to show up at open. I'm nailing them. And if I'm able to fucking get out of red from pre-market, that's great. So I'm ending small green, but definitely some things to take into consideration going into tomorrow. But yeah, let's get into it. No wasting time at all. APDN was the first play of the morning. Let me try to get my brain back to what we were looking at here. Okay, yeah. So this one was a loser for me. We had this nice little push at 7. Nothing crazy, Looking back, this really wasn't the best quality setup. Probably why it didn't work out. But it did get a little push right here. I kind of just dipped my feet into it. I wasn't looking for anything crazy, but it did give me my look. Look at this nice push on the 1. Nice boner candle on the 5-minute here. But again, I think I've talked about it before. I kind of like seeing this thing make a move, maybe do like a 1-minute pullback, and then break for new highs. Kind of give us like a multiple candle 5-minute move, just to just to confirm that there are other people watching it, and it's not just a 5-minute candle up and then a sell-off, which is kind of what happened here. So yeah, it kind of popped. It kind of immediately put in a 5-minute pullback right here. And I don't think I got this one. I might have. I think I did grab this. I grabbed this dip right here. It gave a nice little move right here. I either didn't take profits on it, or I think I tried to add some more here. But, either way, this was a decent little add right here. 228s. I got, about 15-cent pop right here. For some reason, I'm trying to remember why I was red on this, but I believe I was just looking for new highs, and then I ended up stopping out break even. But yeah, more of the story is I got chopped up on this one a little bit, and that's okay. Like I said, this probably wasn't the best setup in hindsight. Didn't have really great volume. What I'm looking for and what happens when I'm doing the best is nice moves on the 5-minute, multiple candles. And this one just really didn't have that look, and I'm, looking at it now, I'm not surprised that it didn't work out. So I definitely need to be pickier tomorrow. And next was ADTX. So once this didn't work, I think I took 2 paper cuts on this, kind of like yesterday. Started off a little bit red. Wasn't getting frustrated or anything, but I seen ADTX, which is a familiar name. A little bit higher priced. Definitely not like my bread and butter, but it did give a pretty good setup here. Going into about 7:30. So it set up this flag. I missed this. I missed this first move right here. Very low volume right here, so I probably wouldn't have traded that. But what I was interested in is when we broke above these pre-market pivot right here. These pivots right here. You got a tap at 1150 right here, another tap at 1150, breaks above this, and then it started to consolidate and pull back over it. And that's when I took an entry. I took an entry off VWAP right here. I believe I had 1160s, and I think I even added a little more on this dip right here. And I was kind of risking this 1150s area. I knew it was going to be a little whippy, so I tried to give it some room. I know I'm down 20 cents a share even when we have this dip right here, but I added a little more. And we got a nice little pop right here. This is nice little, 20 cents. And, in hindsight, I probably would have been less red going into open if I tried to take these base hits. But again, I need these things to hit some kind of target, If I just get a little pop and I take my profits every time, I'm missing out on, when things are testing or my profit targets, which usually are pretty modest anyway. So like if I'm not getting my modest profit targets, then I just feel like I'm super scalping, and it's really not my thing. So like even if I did get this little pop, I probably could have took some off, but I did not because I was looking for more for like this 11.90s, maybe even $12, and pushing into new highs right here. But I ended up getting stopped out for a loss right here. And it is what it is, like this is a little move here. First 5 minutes of candle to make a new high was 11.91, so I at least wanted to see that. I probably would have shaved half right there and then look for the push to 12.20's new pre-market highs, but just didn't get it, man. So I was right on APDN, and then I took another little chunk loss on this one. So going into open, I was, it was a little red on the day. I was close to my sitting around my max loss, and then we had WINT, WINT, which made a really good move pre-market. This thing dropped news. But again, and I wish I would have just been more patient in the morning and waited for this setup, because this was definitely more my speed. And I feel like since I got chopped on the other ones, I wasn't as focused on this one. Even though it did give some opportunity. So again, just one of those things. So yeah, we dropped news. This was a low floater, a familiar name as well. But again, I like this push on the 1 minute flag break again, and then we started to consolidate right here. You could see we put in this nice 5 minute volume right here. Started to set up this 5 minute flag. It tried to push right here, but it got stuffed. I believe my first entry on it was about right here. I think I grabbed this dip right here at about 225s, gave us a little push, but it kind of got a rejection candle, and I think I was a little bit green on this. I think I scalped this move right here. I still had half on the table, but then when this dip candle came in, I actually added more here because I'm like, okay, hindsight, it was kind of not a terrible ad, but definitely not perfect. It kind of looked like it was going to tap the 8, so I added a little bit more right here, and then we just consolidated for like 20 minutes, man. This was very frustrating because, I was holding through this. I'm like, I'm just going to risk this level right here. This 220s, it tapped multiple times. I think I was sitting at like a 223 average, which wasn't a bad average at all. But, if I'm sitting here through 20 minutes of consolidation, eventually I'm just like, how much time, that's not my best trades. My best trades work in a minute or two, and I'm sitting here for 20 minutes staring at this thing consolidate sideways. And then as soon as I'm just like, you know what? We're getting close to open. I'm just going to break even on it. I'm just going to cut it, go take a shower, get ready for work. Literally 30 seconds after I sold that shit, it made new high a day. I was so freaking frustrated, man. I had a feeling, I'm like, as long as we're holding this 220s, it's all good, but I would have been pretty close to break even on the day if I waited another 60 seconds. And this thing ended up finally breaking out. Set up a beautiful. This was a good trade right here, and that would have been, this would have been a nice trade right here, because after this long consolidation, volume sharply increased right here. And that first 5 minute pullback right here, kind of a 5 minute pullback. It's it's a very short term one, but this is a nice flag, guys. This is a nice 1 minute flag, 5 minute flag, however you want to 5 minute 3-bar type look, but makes that good push. Look at this lower volume pullback right here, dips off the 1 minute 20 and then rips for new highs right here. This was a great setup, and I missed it because I was so stuck on this this consolidation right here, which definitely don't really know how to play this consolidation here. That's not my strategy. Like, again, my strategy is to buy this first 5 minute pullback and then look for new highs right here. But it did give us a pop. It just didn't hold, and I think that I probably should have just cut and waited, seen this volume come back in, and I could have took an opportunity right here. But went at open, man. Oh my god, this thing at open was set up the most beautiful 5 minute flag I have seen in a long time. This was definitely my top watch going into open, especially since at open we just started ripping. This big move at open here over pre-market highs. That's definitely something that I look for. And I mean, the price action, just look at this price action, man. This is a beautiful looking flag. And when it made this move and it started pulling back, guys, I was in there. I was in there like swimwear. I was really lame, but this is my strategy right here. This first 5-minute pullback, guys, I nailed this. And I don't remember the last day that I've been at traded open and I haven't nailed a 5-minute flag. I think I'm telling you, like the past week or two, every morning I'm finding this beautiful 5-minute flag and I'm nailing these trades just to, hopefully get green on the day and, make back my mistakes from pre-market. But guys, this is A+ right here, man. Look at this nice push, lower volume pullback. I bought this first dip right here at 3.0. I think I had 308s right here. Made that little push, but I was looking for more. I wanted to add some more size on this one because look at this freaking lower volume pullback right here. This is just a beautiful 5-minute flag. I mean, this is perfection right here. Look at this. Taps the 8 perfect. I remember I seen it right here. I added some more. It dipped down. I was fine. I was holding like 302s, maybe 303s, but I seen buyers step up right on this 5-minute A tap, and I wish I would have added more on this, man, because, God, this is such a good play. Such a good play. And look at this resolution. 1 minute, 2 minutes. We're already at new high days. I mean, I sold half I sold half over this first 5-minute candle to make a new high right here, about 320s, and then I ended up getting the rest off pretty close to high a day at 340s. But man, this thing was beautiful. I wish I would have sized up into this, been more patient, and like I said, I've been struggling in pre-market where I usually do the best. Over the past 3 months, pre-market has been, where I found my profitability and where I found my consistency. And now I'm noticing, especially this week, and something that I need to be aware of is that pre-market, I need to be pickier. I need to take less trades because now at open, I'm finding my opportunity. I'm succeeding at open. I'm finding the plays. I'm being patient. And that's just how it is, man. You have to be adaptable. And you have to quickly recognize when things are changing. Like, I have to find where my favor is, where my edge is. And, man, these 5-minute flags at open have been money. So, again, there's still opportunity in pre-market. I just need to clean up my entries and my executions, be a little bit more patient for higher quality setups at pre-market, hopefully get a little cushion on the day. And then when I see these, I'd rather have a nice little cushion on the morning, couple green trades from pre-market, even if they're little base hits, so that when these 5-minute A+ setups come, I can slam the gas pedal a little bit more. But yeah, it's all good. I did not think I was going to end today green. I was definitely willing to accept another red day, and I usually don't. Very rarely do I have 2 red days in a row. But I was willing to accept it today, just because I knew that I was red because of my decisions, my executions, my hesitations, things like that. It's not my strategy, The first thing people want to blame is their strategy. It's definitely not a strategy thing. But yeah, man, just need to be pickier in pre-market, more patient, and then give myself a cushion in pre-market. So when these open plays come, got to keep slamming them. Also, real quick, I did trade SAG as well. This is actually what got me green. I was about break even from that flag on Wint. And look at this. I seen this nice push right here because Wint was starting to fail a little bit. This was a beautiful 5-minute pullback, or 5-minute push right here. As soon as this thing gave the first 5-minute pullback right here, I snagged this dip, and immediately we got a nice wick. I think I had about 129s right here. The range on this was not a lot, but I actually took a little bit more size than usual just because of that. I didn't have big range here, but it gave a really quick resolution. I sold into new highs right here. Very simple, very quick trade. And it was either going to work or it wasn't. But as soon as I entered, this thing put in a nice wick right here, a nice doji. And that's what gave me conviction that, hey, I'm probably going to get new highs out of this. So that got me green on the day. This thing ended up making another 5-minute flag right here. But after I got green, I stepped away and I was like, you know what? I'm going to just end on that note. Come back tomorrow and hopefully have a better pre-market session and then find another banger at open. We'll see what happens, but that's all I got. I will be here tomorrow, like usual, to make a Friday review and hopefully close this week out strong. And I'll be happy with that. All right, peace.